here we are. We're out at Country New South Wales, so out at Crookwell. So Crookwell's about 20 minutes from Goulburn, and I took the opportunity to cruise out there on a Saturday morning early. It was funny, this hot rod, he was cruising behind me, and he was just doing it easy. He was sitting on 90, 100 k's on a country road, and nice little piece of work, that's for sure. It was one of those things I reckon it'd be cool to sit on the side of the road and watch all these cars come in, because you know, I'd seen like a four-door Tirana and a Mustang and a couple of Falcons just cruising along in groups, and I reckon it'd be a cool thing to sit 10 k's out and just watch them all coming in. But I need to get down here and get some filming done, so I'm just going to walk up and down the line. So as the cars have come in, they had around 300 entrants, and if there's others like myself that hadn't entered that were there as well, and you'll see a handful of bikes as well. So a really good cross section of cars, and what I call primarily, you know, nice drivers, really nice cars that people love and cherish. Take the opportunity to get them out and cruise down the road to a show for the day. So this show's come about because prior to COVID, it used to be at the Logan pub at Crookwell, and they basically outgrew the venue because they'd got to a point, if they were going to stay there, then they had to work with council with doing traffic control and all that sort of stuff. So they've managed to work a deal with these guys with the showgrounds, and I said to Lee, one of the organisers, you got a really good venue here that works so well for this. There's a good sized grassed area, plenty of room for parking in the middle of the oval, and you know, it's a licensed premises as well. So I think this show's going to grow and grow. Now, what about the green on this? I'm thinking this is not far off the green I've got for the panel van, which is, you know, similar to my old Sherwood green. That looks stunning in the sun. Nice 64 Fairlane, so two-door. Still left-hand drive. Of course, in Australia they never imported the two-doors, any of the four-doors, which is, you know, I had the 63 four-door. So they kept saying over the PA all day that if your bonnet's up, we'll judge your car. If it's down, we won't. So the guys that with the bonnets down obviously had no interest in who was going to pick up any trophies. This thing sounded a bit angry. It's obviously got the big block Chev in it. Blown and ejected. So I haven't done a lot of filming outdoors, so I'm going to, once I got home and checked this footage, I'm going to have a bit of a play with the settings on the camera to see if we can make our footage even better. It obviously works really well for the indoor, but it's a never-ending learning process, this video camera caper. Nice little dado. Now check out this purple thing coming up. It obviously started out as a Datsun, and then it's got like an LJ XU1 style front end on it, and I know I got a picture of the sign on the other side, so I'll probably see that in a minute. So it's a little small block of some sort in there, 307, staring me in the face. Well, I couldn't get to read that, but yeah, wild custom. Bit of treatment going on there with the tank in it, and then a bulk stocker right next door. a couple of nice vintage cars there. I need to read the sign to work out what it is. 39 Buick. Look at the front of that. How's that for a mixture of cars running along there? There's something for everybody here. God, I had a Fairlane like that, brand new one. Going in for a closer look here. There must be a bit happening in here. Triple SUs. People that follow me will know that I'm an ambassador for Century, so if you need a good battery, and don't forget they're not all blue and yellow, they do plain black ones as well if you're restoring a car and you're looking for a decent battery with high cranking amps. They do a nice plain black one as well. Oh, that's a nice clean car. They've even got the mud flaps on it. Hellboy, eh? It's got some bright paint happening on that one. Go in here for a closer look. And look at that interior, I love that. Got the AC as well happening, air conditioning, beautiful. So this event's run by a car club, and the club all work pretty hard on the day, as well as obviously getting it organised to make it all come together. And like I said, they've got some trucks which we'll see, they've got bikes as well, and a live band played from 2, and like I said, it was on a Saturday, so it's one of those shows you could cruise into and spend the day and either stay in the area or then head on home. Nice custom car there. Another Bullet. I said the other day I hadn't seen a Bullet, now I've seen 2. Got a nice stance about it. Always like that red and white combo. When I bought the old Fairlane back, whenever that was, some of that 17, whenever that was, anyhow, was when I eventually got rid of the Fairlane after I'd had it the second time. But my plan when I bought it was to redo it in red and white, red with the white flash down the side with a red and white interior, but it never happened. very complete looking XC with his mate next door. Check out the chrome on the front of that, it's massive bumper bars. It's a pretty good looking Survivor, this one. It's I couldn't really get in there too close to the people there, but it was very, very clean, original car that, you know, still had the grime, and when I say clean, clean as in all the parts were there, and it was a really nice base for someone to clean up or to do something with. Nice pacer with the jelly bean wheels. And I must admit I'm not a real factual on a Valiant, but the engine, the yellow on the engine looked a bit bright for what I thought it might have been, but I'm not 100% sure. Someone might be able to fill me in on that, but it's a very nice restoration. A couple of Chevys. Check this out. I recall when I worked at the Ford dealership in Broken Hill, there was one of these being worked on at Commonwealth Motors, which was the Nissan dealer, and they wanted some parts for it, and so I had seen one in the past, very, very long time ago, and here's a complete one. And a lot of people may not even know that Ford made a four-wheel drive XY. I doubt whether there's too many of those left. So if you're in a club in Country New South Wales, it's not a bad opportunity to get together like those guys and cruise in for the day. They had good locally made food and all there, so that a lot of the, I think they had a rugby league club doing, you know, bacon and egg and roast beef rolls and those sorts of things. Really good, wholesome food. Rat rod look going. So that's just one of quite a few rows. So, oh, there's the Ute. We'll just sort of give you a look around where the place looks like. So we'll head down the next row now. No, that's the back of the car. So we'll go the other way around. This bloke's in back the front. So it was a beautiful sunny day, and The weather was quite kind really, it wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. And you can see the buildings in the background there. So they had a few cars in one of the halls and some traders, and I'll buzz past some of those shortly. A few little Tiranas there. Here's an old school, this would be the sort of thing you've seen in the 80s. And this is more current style with those wheels that everyone seems to have, and forced induction all under the bonnet. Yep, there they are, the beadlocks. Nice big Woody. That'd be a 63 by the look of that grille, very same as the one we had. And I think by memory this was a Torino. It's a nice looking front on that car, I like that. Quite a few GTs there that looked like they were well used as well, which was nice to see. You go to the shows nowadays and they're all lollied up, and you imagine that they don't get any use, but there was quite a few cars here that were what I'd class as big dollar collectible cars now that obviously still getting used a fair bit. A very nice factory V8 Ute there. It's the alternative to air conditioning, I guess, is the old fan. Can't quite see what's lurking under the bonnet. That's a lot of front tyre on that car. Yeah, this was a standout, this car. The colour combination on this was very unique. I'm not quite sure how to even describe it. It's almost like an avocado green and then a lighter version of the same colour on the roof. And it just had a really nice look about it. Sure, I get in the back here and you'll just see it's the gold trim and a bit of chrome and the gold on the boot. Super nice. God, if only we had known to buy some of these cars up and put them away. I remember there was a guy in Broken Hill that was collecting XA GTs way back. I mean, a long time ago. And I wonder what happened to all those, because I reckon at one point he had about 20 cars, and some of them were pretty bad rust buckets, but he obviously had a bit of foresight, because a lot of those cars, even as they were, have become worth a lot of money now. Now this was unusual as well. It's left-hand drive. You know, when the windows are up, but a little bit of trim around the top of the ute there. That looks pretty cool. I like that. And a full bling 1-tonner. Very nice. Got the old water bag hanging on the front there, so this guy's all set up with the caravan. And check out what he's got on his lap. He's just sitting there having a yarn to everybody with his parrots. Another LS. There's a bit of that diversity again. Nice panel van. What have we got lurking under here? A few Webbers. Super nice, clean XR, XT. Here's one of those GTs I was talking about. Well, presume it's a GT. Look at the fade out on the bonnet, that's pretty cool. There you go, mate. Nice restoration, nice car this one. .344 barrel. V8 Centura. Check out the steelies on this. I think I'll go in for a look. All been lined up as well. All pin lines, looking pretty cool. Plenty of custom tricks on this one. Got the driving lights and then the drop down mirrors and the side pipes. Big white walls. And the big Fairlane, check out the rear wheels on that, they're looking pretty good. Geez, that takes me back. Paintwork like that was all ago, late 70s. Trying to think of the van that had the full progression like that in the colours rather than flames all the way down the side. Nice cobra Ute. I see they're bringing pretty big dollars, or they've advertised for big dollars. I don't know how they go, but it's nice to see one out and about. There's a couple of late comers here, so I'll grab those while I've got the opportunity. Only late model, I think, but I'll try and capture, the majority of the cars that are there. There's plenty of room under this gold thing. If you're towing for work or play, make sure your vehicle's up to the task. Your gross vehicle mass can be upgraded to keep everything legal and above board. Find your nearest stockist at lovellsauto.com.au and talk to the professionals about getting your vehicle right for the job. So don't forget about Lovells, because without Lovells I wouldn't be able to come and bring all this to you. So if you get the opportunity and you need some springs, whether it's for your tow vehicle or your cruiser, whatever you're building, don't forget to check them out, because they do a full range of sway bars and shocks. They're Bilstein agents as well. So we're looking at some bikes now. So this is over where the bar was and the band was setting up to play. So the band come on after lunch. So they had a section there for bikes, and once again a good cross section of bikes. So there's obviously a few Harleys and a couple of choppers, but some really nice restored, really old bikes, and some off-road stuff as well. And there's one you'll see in a minute that's took my fancy, that's for sure. Check out the size of the sprocket on the back of that. It's massive. Now this is what I'm talking about. So if you've watched my biography, you'll see that I was involved with motocross late 70s, 76, 77, 78. So this I think was an 82 model, but the restoration on this was outstanding. And obviously back then the colour combination with the red and the gold, wow, I loved it. And then I seen this guy pull up with a trailer with this lot on. It's like the family collection, I think. A range of really well restored sort of bikes we used to ride. Well, not that one, but the trail bikes. That was the era that I was riding. Made a 250 Elsinore, Honda Elsinore that was the weekend hack, and then I got myself into a CR 250 that did all the damage, and why I got out of bikes because I wasn't very good at it. Nice chopper here with some pretty cool paintwork. Really get taken by the innovation in a lot of the bikes, the design that they use, and bringing all the different bits and pieces together, all looking to do something different. Beautiful Honda there, like that. Are you Mad Max fans? Motorbikes have always been able to have that really good use of colour. You know, even back in the 70s, the old Honda 4s and the Quacker 9s and all that, they all just had those beautiful colours out of Japan. Some more nice custom paint on these Harleys. Got some hours in that. So just in case you weren't entertained, we'll throw in a really nice drag car as well. Really does amaze me the technical side of these cars now. The amount of I don't know, effort, I guess. Have a look at the wiring in this thing. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the quality. And the pipes and bloody lines and gauges, and really is a sight to behold. I mean, if you have any interest in car building, some of these top-end drag cars are absolutely amazing in their design and execution of what they need to go fast. So then these are some of the latecomers. So these are on the back, you know, where you basically drove in and they were starting to run out of room. So there was just a few, so I've headed back up near the entrance gate to see what had come in, and then I'll run down past the trucks, I think. Nice XW Ute. Righto, so mate, must have one more row to go on the cars. So if you're watching along and you've got any feedback, I'm going to be doing a few more of these shows. I'm trying to work out the best way. I don't want to leave cars out because, you know, people are there and I think it's worthwhile showing them. But if you've got any thoughts on the best way for me to bring you these things, shoot me a message and I'll always reply to everybody. So I'll be doing a lot of the major indoor shows, but I really want to be able to get out on the ground and do these sorts of shows as well, which is really the grassroots of our sport and what we do. Even got a Rolls, look at that. So many nice country cars. They're obviously still out there. Ford 12 slotters on a Holden Ute, eh? It's a lot of carby on a little Windsor. Must have something happening under that, I would think. I really like the feel of the show from the point of view is that when you look at the age of the car owners, they were from, you know, basically P-platers all the way through, and to some guys that look like they're bloody 90. I mean, it was a really really cool thing to see all of these different age groups all brought together with the love of cars and bikes and trucks. Thought that was pretty cool. Had a Holly Sniper on the 6-cylinder. So these 3 cars here I followed in as well with that hot rod. These guys were in front of me and the hot rod was behind me. It was a really cool thing to be cruising along seeing cars like this on the road. Coupe with plenty of tyre under it. If you're in the Southern Tablelands, want to join a club, the information's there for you. So my neighbour from the estate here's got one of these old girls, and he cruised up from Wollongong. The opportunity to get it out and about and catch up with the club members. Low loader was all blinged up, and then they had the grader. And I was thinking about whether the grader was a runner and to get it on there, or whether they forked it on or what, but I imagine it'd be pretty darn heavy. Funny how we all get passionate about what we do, and I know with Chris with his truck, it's all about, that's what they had when they started work, and he drove trucks forever, and to have back what you had. And I guess it's like me with the panel van and him with a truck and someone else with a bike. It's just trying to relive our youth a little bit, but also keep those good memories alive. My dad had a similar truck to this, not quite as big as that one, I don't think. That's a nice looking rig that he restored as well. That he bought it brand new, and it was a 48 model, and it stayed in broken, and he ended up finding it and restoring it. A great setup that is. The next project on the back. Certainly want a good polishing arm down something like these. Massive amount of bling. So we'll head down this row, and I'm sure when I get to the end of that we'll check out some traders, and then the tin shed right at the back there's got some more top end cars, a couple of top 60 Summernats cars in there, so we'll get to those, and a burnout car or two. Nice to see a GS stripe on a car rather than a GT. Yeah, look at this. This looks so original, this car. Incredible. Just chuck them blue plug leads away, and it's perfect. That's what you call in the weeds. Isn't it funny? You go anywhere you like and there's always a V-dub there. There's a couple in this one. Nice restoration. You normally tell if someone's got the sign out the front that's all painted up that there's a good chance you pop your head under the bonnet, it's going to be all done nice and backed up by a nice Monaro. God, it makes you realise how small them minis are. My sister's first car was a little 850 mini. Boyfriend back then, that's now a husband, Keith, that's he had a little I've lost it now, but he had a little mini Cooper S, that's what I was trying to think of. Very quick little car. And he's still going strong. Keith's got a collection of vintage motorbikes, like 70s, 80s. I don't call it, probably veteran or something, not vintage. So there's those traders. So that was the end. We finished with that coupe and the Ute, and these guys have brought their wares out. Bit of rockabilly, and I managed to keep my hands in my pocket as well. Again, they had some really cheap signs on this next sign stand coming up. Looks like they're having a bit of a cleaner out. So right, we're in the hall now, so just a handful of cars in here. With a mountain motor going on there. So I haven't seen this Ute before, sort of took my fancy a bit. Very nice lines, nice colours. Not a lot of light in here, it was a little bit difficult to get as nice a shots as I would have liked, but we do the best we can with what we got. And a whole lot of nitrous going on. And a Bentley. So Greg from Maskell's Shepparton had brought the No Say H down, so I've filmed this previously on other videos. Still looking super clean. Good use with the colour on the underside of the boot lid. There's something a little bit different you don't see all the time. I mean, it's good to see, you know, people utilising things that came from the styling of the era of the cars and then bring it into the new ones, like painting the backs of the doors to match the trim the way they were back in the 60s. So Maskell's were involved with the next car, which was a panel van that was built by the family of a young guy that unfortunately passed, and he was from this area, so that was part of the reasoning for bringing No Say up and have it there with the panel van. So we'll see that in a minute. How clean's that? So those inner guards have been sort of made as a copy of the outside guard in reverse. When you get your head in there and have a good look, there's a lot of nice touches in that engine bay. So here we go, the panel van. So this is a really sharp restoration of this van, and had a lot of support from a lot of companies in bringing this car back to life. It's always nice to see a restored car come out of a shop that does custom work, because they really know how to turn it on. So from a panel van to a ute, so a bit more of the custom side of it here with the leather floors and all of that elite style stuff, and then out the front, got a fair bit of motor going on. So the last one in this the building is Ben Ambrose's XY. So Ben's a Wollongong boy, and Ben was giving me a hand with Boss XC as well. He works in the industry, commercial painting, and this car has been a labour of love for him on and off over 25 years. And he debuted it at Red Centre Nats, and then took it to Summer Nats and made the top 60 there. And pretty much all of the work on this car was done at home and without a rotisserie. All the floors and all were painted with the car on stands, and he's done all the paint work and all the polishing himself, and then just sent bits out to trimmers, and then it went to Phil Kurgene to have the lines and stuff done, and then up to West End Performance to get the engine sorted out. So he had the engine in it, but he just needed to get that tuned. And I was talking to him the other day, he really just wants to now get a bit of use on it and then put a final tune in it. So super nice car. Now, how does this end up in Crookwell? So here we have an original Mickey Thompson off-road vehicle that looked to be 100% original and period correct. And here it is, just sitting on a stand for a tyre company in Crookwell, when it probably should be sitting in a museum somewhere. absolutely amazing. I never got the opportunity to catch up with the guys that were there. They were there on and off, and I was either filming or doing whatever, and it would have been nice to have a chat, but it didn't happen. Big block Chev, and running through an automatic transmission rear axle setup, and it's on the board in a minute when I think I go around and have a look at that to tell you exactly which model it came out of. But when you consider this as like 70s, yeah, what a piece of history. Incredible. So nothing restored, nothing changed. Yeah, phenomenal, blew me away. Yeah, check out the wind deflector off the screen, and then across and then into this deflector, and then back down, and then it's caught, the air's trapped through there to go through the radiator to keep it cool. Just look at those sorts of things and go, wow, it's so clever. So look, thanks everyone for tuning in and watching again, and we'll be doing some more of those. Thanks to Lovells, thanks to you guys for your support. Don't forget there's merch on our website on asteldesign.com, and thanks again, and we'll catch up soon.